Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Special guest today, Ryan Dempster on the pod.
Yeah.
Ryan
the
Dempster
songbird
on the pod
of the
today
North
is what they're calling him. That's what they've been calling him.
That's what they've been calling.
Yeah, that's not like a recent thing that's happened. That's something that it's been going on for quite a minute. Welcome back to the program, Dallas Braden.
Hey, good to have to have me. It's good to have me.
It's good to see you. Good to see you. Good to be seen. Watched that Sean Manaea Slab Lab episode the other night. And man, is he still trying to get that ball up on the roof? That's had the height a couple times. Just physics are a motherfucker. Sean Manaea, big fan, as he knows I love him. But man, as someone that has like a sliver of OCD, the fact that you guys talked about him getting the ball on the roof and then didn't deliver the goods, Jared, left so unfulfilled from that episode.
Jared, I got to tell you, dude, thank you for bringing this up because it's been documented. I've been open about it. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I have OCD, and I needed that. I needed my next fucking breath. You have no idea how tough it was for me to internalize what I was watching right then and there. I wanted to just I was going to walk that fucking med ball up a ladder and just set it on the top if I had to.
Just
at
to
the end
see
of it, visually, I needed the ball to go up and stay there. I needed it to not fucking keep coming down. And the best part about it is in the morning when we were getting ready to get cranking, he was talking to his trainer, and his trainer kind of looked at him like, you know what today is? And Sean was like, the fucking med ball. The fucking med ball. And it had been a battle, and he highlighted it. He talked, he's like, yeah, dude, I've been trying to get this fucking thing up on this roof all fucking winter. Today's the day. And hey, tune in. Maybe he does it.
Maybe.
You'll never know.
Maybe.
Until you watch.
He doesn't. If this were a show on TLC, they definitely would have duplicated the med ball and made it 4 pounds and been like, there it is. Ta-da, it's on the roof. No, that's real life. Don't work that way. Real life don't work that way, brother. This is not a fairy tale. This is real life. How to train to be a Major League Baseball pitcher. The Sean Manaea Slab Lab episode is on the YouTube channel, and boy, is it a frustrating watch as well as it is entertaining and informative. I'm glad that I'm not the only person. I'm glad I'm not the only one that was the main takeaway was, get that fucking ball up on that roof.
In real time.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but I think the viewer in me wanted to know, okay, so when the athlete gets the med ball up on the roof, how do you get it down? How do you go about getting the ball once it's up there?
Well, they do. They climb a ladder and they go get it. And that's why I was like, well, fuck it. If we already have the ladder here,
that I needed.
Why can't I just...
by the way, in the video, Pete Alonso just casually walks by the frame. There's no ding, here's Pete Alonso, by the way. Get fucking Pete Alonso to throw it up on the roof. I bet you he could get it up there.
There was just some bantering back and forth between some other folks, and the med ball I think the med ball has proven to be
undefeated.
If you're really feeling like you're about that life, we'll see you at the med ball wall.
And it was what, 10 pounds?
No, I think it was heavier than 10 pounds.
12? It couldn't have been more than 12.
Might have been 12 pounds. Yeah, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Sean Manaea. Say it was
just probably like a 16
pound med ball. No.
Do you think I could get an 8-pound med ball on the roof?
I want to believe that you have the conviction inside of you. I just don't know. I don't know if you're twitchy enough. There needs to be some explosion from the lower half. Explosion. And I know you've had some explosions with your lower half at times, but what I'm talking about is really I'm talking ground force up through the lower half all the way up the chain, all the way up the kinetic chain. I maybe have questions about your ability to tap into the kinetic chain efficiently, but am I questioning your try hardness? Am I questioning your commitment to getting it done? No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating the blogger butt TJ, what that looks like on the other side a year out.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, you might be throwing shit over the roof.
Right.
I don't know.
Looks like an asshole on the way out too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think 10, 12, no, but I think maybe an 8-pound med ball. I know my legs are small, but they're strong, which I know is crazy, but I think they are. Like, I can go downstairs right now and leg press, like, I don't know. Let me do the math real quick.
I was gonna say, don't put yourself under duress right now.
I can leg press over 500 pounds.
Well, I would certainly fucking hope so.
That's not fucking easy.
What?
500 pounds?
Was that like 5 plates on each side?
That's like 540 is 6 plates on each side. That's a lot of fucking weight. What are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about, Jayhay. The fucking former players, they walk around and like they don't have touch with reality. Like they don't, like the average Joe Schmo walking down the street right now, if we were to set up in Times Square, if we were to build a leg press and put it in Times Square and put 6 plates on each side, how many people, what's the average like if we got 100 people to attempt to do 10 reps of 6 plates on each side, how many people do you think are just completing that? 3?
I don't even know. I can't even hazard a guess as to what I can do within like 100 pounds. I don't know this industry. I don't know this topic.
I would say maybe.
But you could tell me I could do 175, or you could tell me I could do 350. I don't know the answer to this question.
I would say 17 is the number. If you got 100 people to attempt to leg press 540 pounds, 6 plates on each side, 17 people are able to do it.
I don't know. Maybe I feel like there's.
Let's set it up.
Yeah, let's
get some liability waivers signed.
Oh, well, I was going to say, we need
book Rudy Giuliani.
We need to get a leg press for the live stream.
I fucking have a leg press, you dumbass.
No, but I mean, you got to get it upstairs.
We can put a camera in the basement.
Yeah, it's probably easier to just put a camera in the basement.
Yeah.
or have like Eamon and Jeremy walk downstairs.
Let's move the entire leg press upstairs so that it crashes through the fucking floor with all the weight. Let's have it crash through the fucking floor, through the dining table on the first floor, brother. That's a good shit right there, brother.
Well, hey, it's either me and the weight press or the fucking raccoons, but something's coming through that fucking door. Something's coming through that floor.
Yeah.
We should do something like that though, where everybody who attends the wild card live stream does whatever a set is or whatever the standard for this competition is, and we write it on the big board.
Yeah. A leaderboard.
And then if people want to go and try and improve their standing over the course of the stream, they can walk on down there and give it another shot over the course of the 2 days or however long we're consecutively. Yeah.
You feel fucking supercharged because someone hits a bomb? Throw another plate on. Throw a fucking plate on right now.
Yeah. Roman Anthony just hit a walk-off granny to send the
let's go.
Yeah, to clinch the wild card for the Red Sox.
Yeah. I would absolutely blow out my ACL just because the Red Sox did it. I'd be like, let's go, 8 plates, let's go.
Yeah, but I tell you what happens is there are no less than 4.5 of us that go down via blogger butt because we have just blown out the O-ring after an incredible 9th inning. Like, fuck it, 10 plates, we're doing it. And then it's just now 4 of us are laying in the fucking weight room and we can't move because we've got hernias.
Yeah.
We've got asses falling out of holes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I like that idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think we need to keep brainstorming for the playoffs. And I don't know. Are we gonna get Dallas Braden out here again? Because I know it's a quick turnaround. You would have been here 15, 16, 17 of September. No.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
16,
It's
17,
early.
18. 16, 17, 18.
Okay. 16,
Yeah.
17, 18. Yeah. But it's great because I'm at home. Like I've already kind of kicked this around with the boss lady. And
Bring her.
well, we're the idea is we're at home for the remainder of the season. So like at the end of the season, we end the season at home.
Okay.
So we will have been together. We will be at home. So the idea of me being gone is it's not like, hey, motherfucker, you've been gone for 2 weeks and now you're coming home to get on
Actually,
an
super
airplane.
appealing.
You know
super
what? You know
appealing
what we
for-
should do,
yeah.
Dallas?
It is,
Honestly, like we should just have, like, why can't we just get Dallas an Airbnb for October out here? Like, bring the family. Well, they have school. Do they have school?
Yeah. We have, school and life and shit. Yeah.
Why don't you homeschool these kids?
But we have kicked that around as well, my friend. Trust me.
Yeah, so that's the great separator. The ideas that I have, at least like if and when the Red Sox make the playoffs, is I want to bang out the House of Blues. It's 2,200 people. I want to, you've obviously, I don't know if you've been there, Dallas, but you've seen Billy's, right? At Yankee Stadium, that giant warehouse where they have like the huge screen. So what I want to do for the playoffs, at least for the wild card round, would be have the big projector on the stage. All of us, the BID guys, the Section 10 guys, we are sitting on the stage with our backs to the crowd. We are watching the game with headsets on. So they are the people at the venue are hearing our commentary to the game, but we have a camera facing us so that if you're watching the stream on YouTube, you see the crowd going nuts behind us if there's a big moment in the game, but you're watching us react to the game in front of a house of 2,200 people.
Yeah, you're basically watching. You're watching a movie theater full of people watch a movie. Is what you're doing, but you also, while you're at home, you have that movie playing on your television as well. So it's like we're all watching a movie together.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's the goal. That's what I envision for us.
Can I spray shit around on this stage?
Yeah, dude. I want to get CO2 cannons.
Do you understand what I was allowed to do earlier this year? And
no.
Shout out again to that fan. They're still recovering. I shot a fan in the chest with a hot dog cannon, or with a t-shirt cannon, and I may or may not have juiced up the oxygen. You know, they tell you to hold it for a 2 count, and I may have held it for a 4 count. I may have doubled it. And,
well, that's a t-shirt cannon. Yeah. I mean, do you want a t-shirt cannon at a venue like that? That's like, I feel like that's close range no matter where we're looking.
Well, the idea is the t-shirts are supposed to go up in the air. They're not supposed to be shot linearly, like at people.
Right.
Yeah, but I did that. So I've learned my lesson since, and I won't do that.
How much is a t-shirt cannon?
Can't be much. And I could probably, I feel like I know a guy.
You know a t-shirt cannon guy?
I feel like I know a t-shirt cannon guy.
Yeah, we can get one for 300. Never mind. That's a sketchy source. These things are like $2,300.
Yeah, they're not cheap. I mean, look, nothing little backwoods ingenuity can't take care of. If you've ever shot a potato gun, you know what I'm talking about. I think that's probably a little dangerous for what we got going on.
Could do like my friend's dad made rubber band guns.
Oh.
They're like full wooden like rubber band guns, and they like little paper clips or paper coat laundry hangers, and they would like it was like pretty badass actually.
Yeah.
Flick them.
Rubber band guns.
Oh yeah.
If Dallas,
Shout out
if you
Mr.
have
Montgomery,
a t-shirt cannon guy, then we need to get him on the horn.
Okay. Okay. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I mean, me and Mikey are scrambling to, we've basically become the impromptu events team.
What? So Come on. Bro, you know who you got here. Well, I mean, do I need to bring the paintball guns?
What the fuck do we need a paintball gun for, Dallas?
What
the fuck? Oh, events?
Shoot Milky?
Weapons?
Shoot Milky?
I love how every single one of Dallas's ideas for this boils down to torturing that poor guy.
Yeah.
I love Milky. Did
you see his tweet this morning?
I'm not saying you don't like him. I'm saying you like torturing him too.
Just another got pulled. He tweeted a picture of him getting pulled over this morning.
Oh God, what did he do?
So he gets in accidents all the time.
What? That's not good.
No. He probably gets pulled over a lot. I want what about his driving is drawing the attention of law enforcement? That's what I want to know. Like, is he on his phone? Is he like scrolling fan graphs? No. Is he streaming highlights? Is he just driving erratically because he's not very aware of his surroundings? Like, what about his driving do you think draws the attention of police?
He's a 50 and a 55 guy, and you are fucking it up for everybody else.
You think he drives under the speed limit?
Yeah, you need to do at least the speed limit. You have to go at least the speed limit. Like merging, he's probably a guy where if you merge in the same vehicle with Tyler Milliken, you probably want to immediately strangle him shortly thereafter because you can feel the world passing you by as you enter the flow of traffic at 26 miles an hour with some bad sports talk radio being streamed on your phone, not paying attention to what the fuck you're doing. That's my guess.
I would call him right now to get the explanation, but he is on the air right now. He's on the 10 to 2 show on 98.5 The Sports Hub. But I'm looking forward to getting that explanation. You know, I bet you at the time that the cop showed up to the window, I bet you he didn't know why he got pulled over. He could have run a stop sign. He was probably driving in 2 different lanes on the highway. To Dallas's point, maybe he was driving under the speed limit. I don't know. But either way, I'm sure it was something that he will deny. I'm sure it's something that he shouldn't be denying because he was probably wrong. Jared Carabras is
what?
Hold on. So I'm just going to admit that I did not consume the podcast that this was discussed on. Mm-hmm. What was the explanation for why he didn't pronounce your name correctly?
He was nervous. So that clip is from
does a podcast with you every day.
I know. That clip is from the baseball hour on the Sports Hub last week. Tony Maz was out, so Tyler was hosting, and he said the dynamic of him being the host and me being the guest made him nervous. So the first 11 seconds he introduced me. Jared Carabras.
Carabras.
Yeah, it was it was not his best work. I mean, he started off strong. Like he gave a shout out to the pod. The host of Baseball is Dead, Jared Carabras.
Oh, it's like fucking up your mom's name. Like,
yeah, you can't do that.
Fuck that up.
Carabras. The host of Baseball is Dead, Jared Carabras.
So good. Carabras. Ah, shit.
Yeah. His life, he's a cartoon character, you know? Like when I go out into the world, like I had a family reunion on Sunday and I get asked, like, is he, I'm sorry?
What's that?
What did you, pardon?
Nothing. Go ahead.
No, I beg your pardon. I beg of it.
Nope.
You will not grant me the pardon.
I asked if there was any hot chicks.
Oh, at the family reunion?
At your family reunion. Yeah. What do you think? No? Yeah? No?
I don't think so.
Just
Tough
asking.
to answer, right? Because you don't want to call your family ugly, right?
Right,
But you
yeah.
also don't.
Right, it's a tough spot.
No winners here, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough spot here.
It's all right. Moving on.
A lot of bangers out there at that family reunion, man. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I meant they're all hideous beasts. Everyone is horrible looking.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Yeah, they're all great people, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I get asked about Milky. Is he real life? Is that an act? It's a real life, brother.
That's real.
It's 100% authentic. And so are my picks on the Underdog Fantasy app, which I did just submit my picks this morning. And as I informed Dallas before the show, 2 of the 3 in my pick'em today play for the A's. And he guessed them both right away. That's a great broadcaster right there. Be like, hey, threw a pick'em out there. Obviously, they're going up against a righty who's been mashing righties. He just went through his brain Rolodex. And the first one's easy. Nick Kurtz being a pick in my pick'em. That makes sense. But he just reached right back into his somewhat empty brain and said, Shea Bangaliers. I said, correct, sir, to go along with Shohei Ohtani. That's the pick'em for today. I haven't had much success when I hunt lefties. For whatever reason, you could have a shitty lefty out there, and I try to find who has success against lefties, and I don't often hit those. I'm better against righties for whatever reason. But Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing the pick'em game is as simple as just following my pick'ems every day. Every day we out here. Dallas, do you have one today?
No, I haven't been asked to throw a pick'em out in a very long time. So no, yeah, I do not have a pick'em available.
Jayhay is contesting.
I don't know what he's contesting. I usually, as soon as I am requested to,
I don't want to say anything that Jake's going to have to edit out afterwards. And I'm really thinking about Jake here. Like, I don't want extra work and, me saying something and Dallas blowing his top and saying, that's not true, and then Jake's got to delete 15 minutes of the pod. Let's get one up. Let's just let's let bygones be bygones and let's just get a pitcher. Let's just get a pitcher pack up, baby. Let's just do it.
Yeah. See, now that Jay, you know what? I couldn't be more fucking excited to put together a pack right fucking now.
It's called good producing, baby. Yeah. Could have gone so many different ways with that, but for all you young aspiring producers out there, just always remember that first and foremost, it's about your talent's ego, and you got to play to it, baby.
That's right. Yeah. And the other thing that it's all about is making sure that you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's JARED to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. I don't think we should delay this Ryan Dempster interview any longer. We cover a broad variety of topics, some fun ones, some current events, some topics that have been recurring on this particular program. So without further ado, our conversation with Ryan Dempster. All right, we got Ryan Dempster returning to the program. I feel like it's the first maybe official appearance, but there was an impromptu forced appearance earlier in the season where we had to call you. I think it was over. It was music related, Dallas?
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
We were talking Tragically Hip.
Yeah, we were listing the greatest musicians that we could think of. And then we started talking about the greatest musicians from Canada. I know some folks immediately went to Bieber. I started at Ryan Dempster. And Bolton. I think that's kind of how we got here. Yeah, some were throwing out Bolton, and it's cute. It's cute, right? It's not Ryan Dempster. I can tell you that.
Yeah. It's not Ryan Dempster. This is Ryan Dempster, the of Intentional Talk on MLB Network. I actually just ran into your co-host. He was in Saugus the other day. So here's where I want to start, because I got to watch your playing career, and you were one of those guys where I knew it was just a matter of when, not if, you would cross over into media. Has your experience in media been what you thought it would be? Is it better than you thought it would be because of, at the time of you playing, maybe shows like IT didn't exist and media wasn't as loose as it is now. Like how has it been going for you?
Yeah, I think early on, getting done playing baseball and getting into media, it was a fun way to keep engaged with the game. I mean, we've talked enough times. I love baseball. I watch all the time. I'm constantly, like, if I'm at an airport, I got the MLB app out. If I'm always trying to find a game. Like, my wife knows it. It's going to be, there's multiple games going, the big innings going. I'm surfing around. So I love that aspect of it. What I really loved was this stuff. The looser dive in clubhouse type feel. And that was something that Millar and I actually talked about while we were playing, and then when he retired before me, a few years before me, he started Intentional Talk with the network when that launched. And I just loved it. I think, the first early years of IT, I was the leading guest. I was the 5-time SNL guy. Like, I just, if there was like, we don't have a guest today, just call Demp. He'll either get a teammate or he'll get himself. So that was just, I loved it. And I really loved that aspect. And when I got done playing, I started taking improv classes. I started doing stand up. I started doing things that, for my area of what I liked in the media, I started getting into. And it really started to go, and then COVID hit and kind of squashed a lot of that stuff. But then all of a sudden it came back with podcasts and guys talking the game. And so I just love it. And I love doing Intentional Talk because we get to be serious if we want to be. Cool, man. I'll challenge anybody on anything at any time. I'm ready to go to talk about it, from analytics to the heartbeat of the game, whatever it is. But like, I love the humanization of athletes and just a little bit of, putting people in touch with who they really are, and seeing that side of them. And to me, that's what's so much fun. And to build off that and build shows and do my own off the mound shows in Arizona, where I get to build a show and produce it and have fun that way. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it, Jared, to answer your question, and just enjoy it thoroughly.
So you've played in some big media markets, but it sounds like you had a good relationship with the media. Obviously, you were a willing participant as a player, but has your perspective on the media, like baseball media in general, I know it's evolved over time, like we just talked about, from you being a player to now you being in the media, but has your perspective on the job changed at all now that you're kind of on that side of the fence?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. My perspective as a player was, one, you got to be accountable. So if you have a good game, bad game, you show up at your locker room. I just really did not like when guys were always there when things were good, and then when they had a bad game or things were going bad for the team, you couldn't find them anywhere. I detested that. It's like, why can't you just be accountable? And then, I really started to understand, the generic, hey, did you feel good out there today with the guy almost throws a no-no, throws a shutout? And I remember asking a reporter one time, I'm like, why do you guys ask stupid questions like that? And he was like, because we have to get it out of your mouth. We can't just assume you felt good. It has to be your words, and that's only fair to you and to the person reading the paper or the article or whatever it is. So I kind of had a little bit more of understanding and respect for that. But you're always going to have your Johnny Miller who sits in the first row and asks the first question of the post-game interview after you throw a one-hit shutout, and his first question is going to be like, Ryan, what happened on the hit you gave up? Like, that's okay. And so I think I really did have an understanding. And then what I've tried to do, my hardest thing that I've tried to do throughout like this part of, kind of my post-playing career in media, is really tried and focused hard on remaining with the understanding of this game is really hard, and it can get very easy when we get away from the field. It gets easier as we get further up into the press box. It gets easier in a front office suite, all of those things. And I try to just remain intact and in touch with how difficult the game is. And so that, for me, I think, that's really helped.
That's a great point, Demp, because it's something that as I started to enter this side of things, that I had to find the balance of very quickly. And there's something that has just recently happened in our game that I wanted to get your take on, your opinion on. And I really hadn't even thought about asking you this until you just went through why you feel the way you do about the game and the media side of things. I'm not sure if you saw what happened with Victor Robles and his incident in AAA, threw a bat at Joey Estes, pitcher in the athletics organization. But just immediate knee-jerk reaction. What's the first thought that goes through your head, player Ryan Dempster? Because if I remember correctly, Demp, and again, I hate to put words in your mouth or your teammates' mouth, but should we need to start to take ownership of the inside part of the plate again, just because maybe that was getting away from us? You would have no problem of trying to grab a little piece of that inside corner, right? You'd be okay with that.
No. Yeah, I'd be totally fine with it. Yeah.
So what was the thought when you see the reaction, and just to contextualize understanding, okay, this guy's been drilled 5 times in 15 ABs. It's the 3rd time that he's had a run-in with this team, 2nd time with this guy. Like there's context to it. And there's also context that, Robles was going through some things off the field, as we all do. Emotions mount. It's the middle to end of August. We all understand how shit's going right now. But what was your initial reaction, player Ryan Dempster, when you see that somebody has just thrown a bat at a pitcher?
Yeah, my initial reaction. So I'll walk through the whole process with you. My initial reaction was like, "What's he doing? What an idiot! What are you doing, dude? Why are you throwing a bat at somebody?" And then my second reaction was, he almost swung at the pitch.
He did.
So
he swung at it.
Yes. That's the other thing that gets me sometimes. You see guys getting hit and they're getting pissed at the pitcher, and it's like, dude, then stop swinging at the pitch that is almost hitting you. Because clearly there's a scouting report that says right here there's a hole. It's right here, and so this much inside hits me in the hand. This much here, I get a swing and miss. So maybe if you would stop trying to hit that pitch, guys wouldn't throw it. That was kind of what I went through. And then I understood him as a person. I personally know I don't know Victor, but I know somebody through him. And he always told me, really great kid. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's been getting hit a lot. But throwing the bat, I'm like, he didn't go after him with the bat. He chucked the bat out to the mound. I'm like, okay, And then you hear about the other stuff that he's going through. And I think that's where sometimes, especially with Twitter and things, we're so quick to throw it out. We have no context yet as to why that happened, right? And clearly he was going through some stuff off the field. We're seeing that recently with Ketel Marte, the same sort of stuff. Dude went through all this stuff with his mom, then his house gets broken into, and he got a lot of emotions, man. We're not robots. And so, so those were my 2 first thoughts, and I think that stresses back to what you're saying is if you're going to do this business and you want to have integrity, I think sometimes having all the information first helps a little bit, because here's a good kid, got drilled 5 times coming back from an injury, overreacted. And then, by the way, kudos to him. Did he handle it great? He set out an apology the next day. I handled this. He was honest and transparent. This is what I'm going through. Doesn't mean it was okay. I'm going to learn from this mistake. So yeah, it's just, it's one of those things where as a player and a former player, I'm like, what an idiot. What are you throwing the bat at a pitcher for? And I'm like, second of all, dude, you almost swung at it like my chest. And then I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Let's think about what this guy's doing. Why is he throwing the bat? So yeah, it definitely changed over this short period of time, within minutes, and then definitely by the next day.
But see, that's where the challenge comes in. And I'm talking to guys who are, just entering this business, and they asked me, how would you have handled that? And I sent out a tweet that said, this is why I'm glad, not that I'm glad, but this is what would happen if I threw 100 miles an hour. I would be in prison, because the next ball that I throw would have gone, or I would have tried to throw it through his torso. And that is with all of the understanding that I understand exactly what this dude is going through as a human being, which is why you feel terrible for him, because you just wish other people would be able to understand the amount of pressure he wakes up with on a daily basis, trying to be a performer, and then trying to be a provider, trying to be a husband, a son, a brother. There's so many different emotions that you wake up with each and every day when you have the responsibility that these guys do. So I understood in the moment, after all the information came out, what he was feeling. I also understood in the moment from a baseball player perspective, at no point do you throw a bat. I don't care if you've been hit 10 times out of 11 at bats. The idea of throwing a bat at another, like, it's crazy. So that's why I think it's not like the game came to a halt, meaning, the industry, but I think there was conversation like, well, how long is this going to last? Blah, blah, blah. So it's a 10-game suspension, probably gets whittled down to 7 or so. And I think everybody's going to be okay.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Cooler heads will prevail. Dallas, he had just alluded to an incident that had happened between you and a player, and you guys have that in common, that there was something there. Maybe well, I mean, I was actually there that night with Dempster. I'll give him the benefit of the day. It was a slippery night. I mean, it was just, I think, it was rainy. I think people kind of pinned that on him for unfair reasons, but not what I'm getting at. My question is, now that you're on the media side of things, have you crossed paths in your, now him being in the media as well? Have you guys crossed paths?
To be honest with you, first time was at the All-Star game in Atlanta. Our green rooms were across from each other, and we were both going to the bathroom. And that was the first time since 2013. So Kevin's really great. Millar's really great. He got a birthday message made for me last year for the show, and he got Alex to throw in a happy birthday message within that message for me, which was really funny. And I said that to him. I said, "Hey, that was really great." And he said, "Oh yeah, Uncle Kevin thought it would be a fun idea." And I go, "You know what it was? Lot of time has passed, and it was one of those things where in the moment that happened, I felt like I was doing the right thing. Clearly, there was other feelings on the other side that were not necessarily that way, but I do know that I got the best paid 5-day vacation anybody's ever gotten in Major League Baseball. Like, I had a great time. I left San Francisco. After that, I go to San Francisco, and we flew. That was Sunday Night Baseball. But by the way, John Lester, Jake Peavy, because we flew 2 starting pitchers out to San Francisco ahead of time, and David Ross, John Lester's personal catcher, were all on the airplane watching it on the little TVs on the United flight on the direct TV, and Peavy is yelling in first class, like, "Get him, Demp! Get him!" He's just like going nuts, and everybody in first class, and the stewardess is like, "What's going on?" Ross is like, "I'm having to calm him down. This is all happening." So I go to San Francisco and I walk in on Tuesday, and John Farrell's like, "You're suspended." I'm like, "For hitting the suspended guy? That's weird." So okay, because he was appealing. And so I said, "Hey, I got an idea, man." Back to I said, there's going to try to be a story made out of this inside of our clubhouse. And we were so tight that I'm like, what if I just throw a bullpen today and then I leave and come back on Sunday after my suspension in LA? And he was like, John Farrell's like, "You do that?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, like, dude, I just got to work out, right? Like, that's it." So I threw a bullpen, and then I left and drove. I camped in Big Sur one night at a cabin. And then I drove down, and Chris Chelios' place in Malibu is next level awesome on the beach, got all the workout gear and everything. And Chris goes, "Hey, Tim Hendricks, a friend of ours, Timmy Hendricks, rented the house next door, but he's going back to Chicago. You and Kelly can just have the house for the whole weekend." This was a $13 million mansion 10 years ago. I mean, it's probably a $30 million mansion now. Had 4 houses, had 2 pools. It was just I sent selfies every day, like with me with like sea lions down on the water. So like I was going to Cindy Crawford's restaurant with her and Randy Gerber and like crushing food at the top. We were having the time of our lives. Bro. So like I won on that suspension. I'll tell you that right now.
Won. Dip, you got me ready to just walk around with a baseball and drill that motherfucker the next time I see him, just in the hopes that somebody's like, "You know what, dude? I got to beat you."
Just for that 5-day suspension. Yeah, it was great. It was really great. So,
absolutely. So I'm hearing you come along with a price tag.
And the best was there were so many intertwinings in there. Like my brother was on his bachelor party, and like there's a great high home shot of like the 8 guys kind of behind home plate that after they're all jumping up in the air, like it was so much fun stuff. And like at the end of the day, like I get reminded all the time on social media, like from trolls will be like, "Hey, you remember this?" I'm like, "No, I don't really remember that because I was too busy winning a World Series." I get you. Like it's a nice kind of subtle way to just throw it back at them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean
that.
that is one of my favorite stories from that World Series. Is after the Red Sox clinched the World Series, that Demp was just out there until fucking 2:00 in the morning throwing BP to fans.
Like Jared, 4:30 a.m.
4:30
in the morning was the last. 4:23 was my last pitch thrown.
I'll throw BP till the fucking cows come.
Yeah, I was gonna say how many beers? How many beers, Demp?
Oh my God, man! I think they were irrelevant. They didn't even matter. Like I could just go. I was on such a euphoric high that it didn't matter. It was just they were going in and out. Like, but I remember going over to John Henry, and John was sitting over by the on-deck circle. It's like about 3 a.m. And I went down in the tunnel and I grabbed Pedroia's gamer from that day and his bat, and I grabbed a bucket of balls, and I went over to John and I go, hey John, and hey, congratulations, by the way, great job. Hey, you know that thing where you like, what's it called? Plausible deniability, where like if you're not somewhere and you didn't see it happen, it didn't happen. I think it's a good time for you to leave. And he was like, and he was, and John, John, he's got that quiet voice. He goes, oh, okay, Ryan, hey, great, congratulations. And he left. Because I knew somebody might get hurt, and I didn't want him to be responsible for somebody getting hurt. And we were roping balls. Like my cousin hit one like off the Coke bottle. My best friend was roping off the Green Monster at 4 a.m. after we won the World Series. Yeah, I celebrated.
That's so good. So yes, you did.
Yeah, that was. I remember I was doing TV hits for NECN, not Nesson, not the one that broadcast the games, but like Channel 6. And after clinching, I was there at the clincher, and then the following morning I was supposed to have a hit at like 8 a.m. at Fenway, and they brought me in to go on the field, and people had stolen, I don't know if you know about this, Dempster, people had stolen numbers off the scoreboard. Like there was plates missing. There were beer cans in the warning track. Like that was Dempster's mess.
That was my beer cans. I did not steal any numbers, nor did any of my family numbers, but I'd be hard pressed to argue that those weren't our beer cans, Yeah, that was a special season, man, as you know, to go through all that. And in the city of Boston, like I played 1 year there. I felt like I played 10. Like, I came back 10 years later, ran the Boston Marathon, and in 2023. And after the marathon, I was doing intentional talk from the field, so I needed a ride over there, and I got a police escort. And this guy, and the marathon's still going on. Like I wasn't quite Chara on my pace, but I did pretty well. Like I did all right for never running a marathon. And I get done and I can barely walk, and he's ripping me through the city. Whoop, 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 whoop. Lights everywhere. We're going alleys this way. And he got me there in like 7 minutes, from the finish line over to Fenway. And I was just like, hey, dude, can I give you my number? I'll do anything for you, man. Like, hey, please. Like, dude, this was unbelievable. And he looks at me straight in the eye, dude, as I'm getting out of the car, cop car. And he goes, you already did. You won the fucking World Series. Like, dude. What?
That storybook.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
incredible.
That is fucking epic.
Switching gears a little bit here to some present day baseball conversations. We haven't even gotten to ask Dallas about this yet. We kind of touched on it a little bit on the Monday episode, but the idea of realignment and expansion. I feel like the expansion conversation, we've kind of beaten that into the ground. Like we know it's going to be, Salt Lake City. It's going to be Nashville. It's going to be Portland, Oregon. It's going to be one of those. Fine, whatever. I don't think that they're going to be like, surprise, we're adding a Major League Baseball team to Wichita, Kansas. Like I'm pretty sure the city has been named already. But as far as realignment goes, is that something that would be a novelty for a year, and then after a while fans would be like, I don't know if I love this? Or would it be something where you mix up the divisions and then 2 years from now we forget that we ever lived a life before that?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I've been looking at this, and you see the proposals of like these 4 teams and geographically. I personally, when I look at it and think about it, especially the way the playoffs are now, and we have so many teams making the playoffs, that why not just do like Two league. Don't get rid of American League National League, please. I've seen guys throwing that out there. Like, that's silly. Don't do that. Yeah, you're really messing with the integrity of the game now if we start to do that. But I wouldn't be opposed to like 2 8-team divisions in each league. Like an 8-team conference here and an 8-team conference there. Kind of like you see in the NBA a little bit, just where it's like you have, and then you do it geographically that way. So it's like this group here, this group here. Like, I don't want to see the Yankees and Mets in the same division. I want to see the possibility of that being a World Series matchup or something. You know what I mean? Like, I just personally, that's just me. But yeah, I think realignment would be great, especially you're adding 2 more teams. So now you're even numbers and you can really have some fun with it. Yeah, I think we changed so much in the traditional sense of the game, some of the rules and different things, runners on second to start extra innings and these different things where we're trying to do stuff to keep people engaged. And I think it would be a good way to keep people engaged where maybe you have a little bit more. And I like the idea too of, as fun as it is to have interleague, but like the idea of having more games, I came up that way. We play 19 games a year against, your division rivals, and you're going somewhere 3 times a year. I like that. Otherwise, let's not have divisions. Let's just have 2 16-team conferences and you play each other all the time. Like, but if you're going to have divisions, then let's make it that way, where the division means something and you can really impact it within your division of playing the clubs in your division. Not like, let me make sure I play every team in the league, and then, it doesn't hold the same water. So yeah, I definitely think, realignment's coming, and how they're going to structure it, I don't know, but I kind of look at 8 and 8 in each, American League and National League is where I would leave.
That's where you're
and
at.
I was going to say, because the one thing that I do still love the idea of, and I don't know how often we get it, but maybe it's just the novelty that's kept me in love with it. But you touched on it, Demp, the idea of a potential Yankees-Mets World Series, the idea of a potential Dodgers-Halos World Series, right? Like, those are things that get people in those regions excited, because if their team should be winning, and if the other team, their crosstown rival, although albeit in a different league, is also successful, now it feels like, everybody in that area or in that region is winning, is having a great time watching baseball, enjoying the sport. From a marketing perspective, and Dip, you understand this, like the idea of there being 2 leagues now, like there is nothing that separates these 2 leagues outside of geographical locations and the proximity from which each team might be in conjunction to the next. Outside of that, there's no subset of rules. There's no strategical difference between these leagues anymore. The effort to get every player in front of every fan base has been made and achieved to an extent, because we're going to, we're going to St. Louis this year. They'll be coming to our ballpark next year. And so you have that kind of shifting occur. What I do like what you said, which I totally agree on, is I need the division winner, whoever that is, I need that to mean something. So however we start to divide this up, that needs to carry weight regardless, because you just can't have teams vying for the division and then have another team who is just going to backdoor their way into the postseason, being able to strategically, roster construction wise, approach their season the same way. I don't like the idea that that's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. And like, even like if you said 2 different leagues, I'm not opposed to. I mean, when I say the American League, National League, like Western Conference, Eastern Conference, like we see, and even in hockey until they went to all the Metropolitan, Pacific, all that kind of stuff, where it's like, geographically, you're just going like this, and then at the end, you have a team from over here play the team from over here. Because you're right, like we are doing such a good job of getting all of the great players in the game on TV as much as possible, and highlighting those players. But I do like the idea of the division meaning something. I really do. Because I think it motivates people a little bit more instead of like the trading deadline. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Signing players instead of like, we're going to back into a wild card spot. And then we made the playoffs and it's like, cool, man. You know, like, again, you didn't spend in free agency. Again, you didn't spend in free agency. Again, you get the first pick, but you didn't spend in free agency. Again, you get the first pick, but you didn't spend it. Like, we're going to see 6 years of utility in Pittsburgh with the best pitcher in the game, or with call them top 3. You know, if you want to put some other guys in there. But, like, they're not going to spend any money. They're not going to sit there and do anything. So what's the motivation? It's like, what, that you maybe get a wild card spot? You're not winning your division here in Pittsburgh. Sorry. Fact, you know, it's just not happening. So it's like, you know, but yet you have the number 1 pick, and then you get the number 1 pick again. It's like you're getting all these really great number 1 picks, and nobody truly gets to enjoy those, at least on the biggest of stages, because maybe you make it to a wild card round and he only gets to throw one of those games.
Tough.
Yeah, it is, but it's fun. It's exciting. I'm glad that they're talking about it. I'm glad that there's going to be expansion. I think that we've been talking about it long enough. I think there's, you know, out of those cities that you're talking about, Jared, there's, you know, 3 or 4 really good names in there, and they're going to find the best spot for those 2 teams. And then it keeps it exciting, man. It's cool.
Do you have a preference?
Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
if I leaned, I would probably think Nashville. I think they can easily suffice. I mean, they have a football team that has a stadium, and they're just building another stadium. So, like, fan-wise, fan base, the infrastructure of that place, how much it's grown, how entertaining it is down there. I think it could be something really special. And then I would probably, if I leaned, I would probably lean towards Salt Lake City or Portland. You know, the issue with Portland, obviously, being, you know, there's been some challenges there in the city with just some stuff that's gone on, but Salt Lake's a beautiful area, and I know that they got the spot for it as well. So I think I'd probably lean on one of those 2 places.
Jayhay?
I was leaning towards
I'd love to get your
Montreal
thoughts.
again, you know, bring them back, but join that
there you
group.
go.
But, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening. Yeah. Just because I love that city. What was that, Justin?
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I would love to get your thoughts on the Cubs 2025 Cubs situation, and specifically what's going on with Kyle Tucker and Pete Crow Armstrong, if you want to talk about both or pick one or the other, but just the kind of the ebb and flows of their season where, you know, PCA was, you know, on paper, on the field, an MVP candidate for the first 3 months of the season. And obviously his defense plays regardless of what the bat is doing. But the bat's been, you know, kind of brutal over the last couple of weeks. And Tucker is now kind of his own storyline at this point. Just kind of your take from the pitching side there, the analyst side on Tucker and PCA.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, with PCA, I think you realize how hard it is, you know, to maintain a pace throughout the course. I think that's what's so impressive when you see like what Ohtani does. You know, what Judge is able to do, what these guys do, where they're just like, you know, that was the Albert Pujols of my era. It was just year in and year out. It's going to be 40 with 130, and he's hitting 320. Like, and he's doing it every month, by the way. There's no like, you know, there's no lull period. And that's why those guys are Hall of Famers, and that's why they're elite, right? And it's really hard. And you can have these stretches as young players. You can have them as pitchers where you go 5-0 and then 4-1 the next month. Hey, man, he's member of Baldo Jimenez when he's 15-1 going in the All-Star game. We're like, he's going to win 30 and join Denny McClain. It's like, and he won 19 games. You know, it's like really hard to keep pace no matter what it is. It gets hot. It gets, you know, you wear down a little bit. Pitchers pitch you a little bit differently. You could have a little injury, something that you're just not even telling anybody about. You know, I wonder with Tucker a little bit if there's something might be going on, but I'm not in there to know. I don't know what that might be. But also, too, you know, with PCA, I'll go to PCA. PCA, young guy still finding his way, doing unbelievable stuff. You know, you mentioned, you know, and then you get close to 30-30, so then you start trying to hit homers instead of just, you know, putting swings on it. And there's the high-low, right? We see PCA is a very passionate kid, you know. Things are going great. It's raising the roof. It's the chest pumps. It's all that. And things go bad. It's the helmet spike. The bat's getting thrown. So you have these emotional roller coasters that he's just trying to figure out. This is such a great kid. I've had so many awesome conversations with him. You know, he tries to stay as even keel, and I no doubt in my mind, and especially because of speed, he gets out of this little bump, and it's been a little bit better lately. And then, you know, with Tuck, like, if you look at it, man, think about this. I don't know if really, okay, first of all, first round pick out of high school, Plant High School down in Tampa. So he never struggled in high school. Never struggled in the minor leagues. He did for a little bit in Gulf Coast League in 2015. And he did for a hot minute for a few games. After a really great season, he went to the fall league. And listen, the fall league's great and it's awesome. But after you played a full season, you go to the fall league, some guys are ready to go home and you're just, maybe you're not quite all there. Other than that, there's been no struggle. Every year in the big leagues, there's been an OPS over 800. It's been the only thing that's ever been any issue is an injury. So for the first time in his career, from a performance standpoint, he struggles. And how do you get out of that? And then how do you not go into that, right? And sit there and work through that. And then, everyone's like, just hit a fly ball. And it's like, you think he's trying to roll over to the first baseman? It's like he's not trying to, but clearly there's something going on there. And I think that's where as teammates, and guys in that locker room, you just try to be a great teammate. Personally, that's where I felt like a strong point was for me as a player was that when a guy was struggling like that, especially from a pitching standpoint, I found something outside of baseball to do. Like, hey, dude, there's a concert tonight. We're going. We're flying into Kansas City. The Hanson's playing. We're going to go sing Moonbot. I don't care what it is. We're just going to get outside of the norm. We're going to go do something that's totally different that gets you away from this place, and because we can sit there and say, oh no, man, I'm trusting the process. He doesn't give two shits about the process. And neither does Craig Counsell right now. Nobody does. They want results. And he's not getting them. And so, maybe this time on the bench is rewarding in a sense that he gets to clear his mind a little bit. He gets to realize that I can't just struggle the whole time. Even as a stud, I got to take a few days off because Owen Casey's swinging it better than me right now. So it's just one of those things where he's got to work through it. And we're just so really never seen it out of him. I mean, look at the baseball reference page. This dude's raked every year he's been in the big leagues. So, his rookie year was the only time in 20 games that he came up. And other than that, he's just been on this path, right? And then you get the creep in, right? We were talking $500 million contracts. And then it's like, well, then maybe $400 million. Shoot, man, maybe the Cubs can re-sign him at $300 million. Maybe he resets his market. These are all the things. And you can sit there and say, well, I don't read the papers. I don't look at that stuff. Cool. You're being asked the questions, he's a smart dude. When you hear the questions at your locker, you hear what's going on. You don't need to read the paper to know what's going on. You clearly know what's going on. So, but yeah, just, a guy that I think is really going to benefit from a few days off here. I'd even give him one more today and not let him face Mizorowski. Why face 100 when you're having trouble squaring up 92 right now,
It's a fair point. Yeah. It's a fair point. Last one for me, but one of the big themes that we've been talking about recently has been how big of an impact Clayton Kershaw has made from a performance standpoint, and how I feel like, he's been kind of presented as, he gets the all-star nod as the legacy ad, and it's like, oh, thanks for everything, Clayton Kershaw. But then you look at the numbers and you're like, the Dodgers would be fucked without Clayton Kershaw and what he's done this year from a performance base. How cool is it to you to see Kershaw still doing his thing? And what do you make of the battle in the NL West for first place?
Yeah, first of all, you're right. I mean, they wouldn't be in first place if it wasn't for him. They'd be trailing the Padres right now. And I just think it just shows that we can analytically drive up all the numbers we want, and we can have all the projections of what guys will do on paper. And if we have if this pitch at this spin rate gets thrown to this area against this swing path, then we're going to get the result we want, right? Because it says on the paper and in the computer. I get that. Analytics have been around forever. They've gone way back all the way back to when some coach was putting sunflower seeds down as to how many times a guy hit a ball hard. That's the reality. We've always paid attention to them. We've just micromanaged them so much now. And comes down to location still matters. Can you locate pitches? Can you throw first pitch strikes? Can you change speeds? Can you be deceptive? And then on top of that, this dude's thrown so many pitches to so many batters. his swing recognition of what a guy's doing, his ability to watch a guy walk up to the batter's box and go, he's swinging first pitch. Like Greg Maddux once told me, pay attention to the guy in the on-deck circle when you're on the bench. In between starts, he goes, watch the guy in the on-deck circle. See if he does anything different when there's runners on scoring position versus when he's going to go up there solo. And I'm like, what? He's like, like maybe he doesn't hit with the donut on the bat. And then he goes up and swings at the first pitch. But when he has the donut on the bat, he doesn't swing at the first pitch. I'm like, you're paying attention to that shit, man? Jesus. Like, that's next level. Well, that's Clayton Kershaw. He's just got more experience, He's a guy who can walk in and do back surgery with his eyes closed because he's done so many of them. Like he's just meticulous in his work and his craft. And just because his stuff is short enough, like back to Maddux again, I remember him and Clemens were facing off against each other in Houston. They were 2 300-game winners pitching against each other. This reporter, our lockers were next to each other. This reporter comes up, he goes, Greg, you and Roger going against each other, 2 300-game winners that do it so differently, And Greg just goes, no, we don't. We do it exactly the same. And the reporter is like, well, no, not really. He goes, yeah, we do. We just do it 10 miles an hour difference. And I was like, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. And it needs to be said more to these kids. We both locate our fastball, we both change speeds, and we both try to deceive the hitter. That's it, And like you see it out night in, night out. You guys are watching games like crazy. Cool, you throw 100. These dudes will tattoo 100 if it's down the middle. And so for Clayton, he's in that zone. His body clearly is feeling good enough to be able to do what he's doing. And because his body is feeling good, he's getting in position to locate and to cut the ball a little bit, to change speeds a little bit, to sink it a little bit. And it doesn't need to necessarily be about that. We get so caught up in it, because we value that. It's like pitcher A goes 1 inning, no runs, no hits, no walks, no strikeouts, throws 7 pitches and has a 1-2-3 inning. And pitcher B goes 1 inning, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, but his spin rates were good. We value pitcher B better because the projections are that that'll play better over the long time. No, I want outs. We're in a result-driven industry, man. Wins are the most important thing, and we want results. I always said if I threw the ball through my legs underhand and I got people out, people would talk about what great mechanics I got. Look at that, dude. He's deceptive, isn't he? Because we want outs. That's all that matters. And Kershaw is proving that right now. And I just love it, man. I love it because we just want to chase velocity and we put that over experience. And it doesn't work. It really doesn't. Go down the board, man. It'll work for a week or 2 weeks, but it doesn't work all season long, and you don't go to the playoffs. And they're lucky they have that guy. And what he brings too, by the way, not just what he's doing on the field. Think about all those guys that have been filling in those rotation spots when guys have been out, when Glasnow's out, when Snell's been out. Like those young guys that have to pitch, those young guys that are around him and watch the work that he puts in and realize what they have to do in order to be out there and doing what he's done over the course of his career. He's a leader on the field, in the clubhouse, in the dugout, everything, every bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, his offseason throwing partner hit me up last night because he saw a clip from our Monday episode talking about Kershaw doing what he's done this year, and he was like, "Bro, in March he was throwing 85." For what he's been able, like the legend status that he's achieved, he doesn't have to keep going. I think a lot of us, I can't speak for everyone here, but I would if I had the resume that he had and I was throwing 85 in spring training, I would have confidence issues. I'm not saying I would hang it up and retire because, to your point, Demp, like he's a guy that can locate. He's not a thrower. He's a pitcher. He can go out there and still get outs with diminished velocity. But I mean, if I were throwing basically like, I don't know, D1 high school fastballs, and now I need to go get out some of the best hitters on planet Earth, I'm probably having confidence issues. But he's Clayton Kershaw, and he knows I'm about to embark on the final steps of entering the 3,000 strikeout club. So, yeah, like there's some motivating factors to go out there and grunt to get up to 91, 92 if you got to. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's commendable that he's done not just reaching the 3,000 strikeout milestone, not just like finishing out his career healthy. It's that he's he's getting outs. Like if you look at his numbers
He's
and
contributing.
compare them to Tyler Glasnow's numbers, like everything is in line except for the strikeouts per 9. Like he's not striking guys out, but he's getting guys out and preventing traffic just as well as, you know, statistically the top performer in the rotation this year outside of Yamamoto, which would be Glasnow.
At the end of the day, he's still got Uncle Charlie. He can just spin in there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And like now you got young hitters coming up. These guys, this next generation, they ain't never seen anything like that. Even if it's not primo vintage Cy Young Award winning curveball that he used to have. For those guys who've never seen that, that's what it looks like to them. They're going back to the dugout. Like, I've never seen a curveball break like that. You know, like it still spins like that. It still drops in there like that. And yeah, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that we continue to have guys stick around and do that and show that experience does matter. And is valuable in this game. I think it's really important. And like you said, he's contributing. He's winning games. You know, he's not winning games because the team's scoring 9.
No. Look, and if you look at like just his last 3 games, for instance, are 3 quality starts in a row. Didn't throw any more than 88 pitches in any one of them, 6 innings in every outing, didn't punch out any more than 4 in any one of them. But that is a perfect example and great insight into a guy who is understanding. I don't have the swing and miss that I once did, but I know how to get to the weak point of contact a little earlier in this at bat than maybe I had to worry about in years past because I could just outstuff you. Now you have to deal with a guy who knows that I can outstuff you in a moment, but my outstuffing you is now just outsmarting you and getting to the handle or getting to the end of the bat sooner than I need or sooner than I have been, because now I'm just churning up outs. I'm just eating innings now.
No doubt, dude. Like, you know, a younger Clayton Kershaw, if he found out that if he knew a hitter was swinging first pitch fastball, he would throw the curveball or a slider, you know? Now he's like perfect. He's swinging for a first pitch fastball. Perfect. I'm gonna throw him a fastball. That's what I'm not gonna do. I'm just gonna locate it. You know, David Ross. We had a meeting with the 2013 Red Sox. We had been rolling for a bit, and then we kind of got lost in pitching staff for a hot minute. We were just a little bit sloppy. We were walking guys. We were getting sloppy hit. He called all the pitchers in for a meeting. He said, "Guys, listen. If we're gonna win games and be successful, if we're gonna win this World Series." This is like, you know, we're talking about winning the World Series in May, so we've been talking about it all year. But like, he's like, you have to throw a fastball in a fastball count when every person in the ballpark knows you're going to throw a fastball, including the hitter. Just locate it, and if you locate it, we'll get him out. You know, so
love that.
Yeah, next generation right here. We got the next generation coming up here. This is Jack. Jack, yeah, there we go.
Jack,
what's up?
You guys say
what's up, squad?
All right. Jack, what's the most important pitch you can throw? Strike 1, right? Yeah. All right. I'll be right in, okay? Okay. In a second, yes. Okay.
Dallas had with it. I don't remember. Do you recall what you said when we asked our final question to you? Do you remember what the final question was? Probably not. You've done a lot of question answering. Dallas, ask him anyway.
All right, Demp. You, me, we can invite Jared too. Uncle Kev is more than welcome. He's got to wear a Speedo though, because we're all getting into a hot tub time machine and we are blasting off back into the past. And Jared, you know what the better time machine is.
Yeah, standard.
Hot tub time machine. Any point in baseball history, Demp, we can go to and you get to witness this moment. You don't get to participate, all right? You can't play. You don't get an at-bat. You just get to be there to watch it happen. What moment in baseball history and why?
Oh, wow, man. What moment in baseball history and why? I'm going to go, wow. Because I'm going to go to a time that I didn't see. You know,
sure.
Like even though I wasn't there in person, I'm going to go further back than that. And I'm going to go back in time because I'm a pitcher and I love it when hitters don't do anything in a game and I'm going to go back in time and watch Don Larson throw
50,
a complete game in the World Series.
Woo.
Like, to me, to do something like that would be just, I mean, you dream about all of that as a player, like in the backyard, in the sandlot. You've talked about that in your head so many times, you know, like I'm throwing no hitter in the World Series, you know, like that's what's going to happen. Like you got to sleep with your glove tucked under your pillow with a baseball in it, with your head on the pillow as a 10-year-old kid going, I'm throwing a perfect game in the World Series right here. So that's where if I could get in a time machine and go back. And I know that burns Jared a little bit to know I would go back to watch a Yankee game in the World Series, but it's more about the individual performance. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a respecter of greatness. Honestly, I want to say that's the first time anyone's picked that game. It is. Yeah, I mean, nice. it should be, I don't know, a top 10, top 15-ish, top 20 pick. I think that's the first time in 8 years of doing this that we've gotten that answer. So good for you for like thinking outside the box and not going with like the common answers. Like we get a lot of like top 3 responses, but to go outside of the top 10, maybe like that takes some critical thinking. So respect to you, Ryan Dempster, for that.
I appreciate that. I'm always an outside the box thinker. That's for sure.
Yes. You can catch Ryan Dempster on Intentional Talk on MLB Network. With Kevin Millar, of course. It's Monday to Friday.
Yeah, every Monday to Friday. Usually, we have the occasional days off, but me, Kevin, and Sierra Santos are out there having the most fun we can have. So hopefully, people tune in.
Sierra's a great addition. Like she's got that like flair. She's got that sass that like she keeps you in line, but she can also just hammer that one-liner and. She's a great addition to the group. So shout out to you 3, Intentional Talk, Monday to Friday on MLB Network. Ryan Dempster, thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Great to see you, brother.
Anytime.
Be good.
You too. All right, fellas.
Big thanks to Ryan Dempster for making the time. That's Ryan Dempster. I am
Jared Carabras.
And you are the listeners of Baseball is Dead who are choosing us for your baseball content. We very much appreciate that. We very much appreciate the folks at BetterHelp. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. And these days, it feels like there's advice for everything. Cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? With the internet and information overload about mental health and wellness, it can be a struggle to know what's true and what actions to take these days. Using trusted resources and talking to live therapists can get you personalized recommendations and help you break through the noise. I am a big proponent of online therapy, been in online therapy for 15 years. That's incredible. That's insane. Long time running. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served for over 5 million people globally. And it works with an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. As the largest therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/baseball. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball. One of the topics that we talked about in the interview with Ryan Dempster, the Kyle Tucker situation, I don't want to call it getting benched because bench sounds like a punishment. And maybe it is. Maybe him not running out that ball the other day, pissed off counsel. I don't know. I feel like you get benched in the moment. Yeah, like I feel like you get taken out of the game in that moment if that's like a punishable offense to miss playing time. But they want to get him reset. He's an important piece of what they have going on. I think, to earlier conversations that we've had on this show, maybe the ship has sailed in terms of the NL Central still being a goal, but they still want to be in the playoffs. And if they get into the playoffs, if and when they get into the playoffs, I think that we're talking about a playoff team, obviously. They need Kyle Tucker to be right. It's not just about winning the division. It's about winning the World Series. And they cannot do that, or it'll be extremely difficult to do that if you don't have Kyle Tucker being Kyle Tucker. So council decided we're going to sit him down. We're going to try and get him right. And hopefully that works. Do you agree with the decision to do it? And do you think it will work?
I think to the point that you brought up about not running a ball out, or, just kind of going through the motions, that can be a moment in time where the manager is listening to the body language being spoken by the player, and the lack of production is lining up with frustration. So this is much how we do it with players, athletes in general, who are ailing and don't want to acknowledge it. And simply because they can wake up and get out of bed, that tells them that they can get a job done. And that's just not always the case. So for the instance of Kyle Tucker, you can see him almost mentally exhausted. You watch what's happening physically unfold on the field, and you're telling yourself, you know what? I've been there before. I know what he's going through right now. And if we're going to have any hope of getting this guy back to a place mentally where he feels confident in what he's capable of doing, then we need to give him a breather right now. We need to let him work through some things. And this is where you see guys, Jared, start to shift their routines a little bit towards the end of the game. Side note, I watched Mike Trout take BP on the field for the first time in fucking years the other day. Years. But this is a moment where those are things that you start to do. Those are little different ways that you're starting to try to get your beast back. How can we get him back to a point of comfort, back to a point of confidence? And at times it comes with maybe taking some things away from what you're doing, because, and I don't want to say that he's somebody who is, being inundated with information and he's now, it's a paralysis by analysis type of situation for him. But at times, stepping back and simplifying things and just completely removing yourself from your situation can be the best thing you do. Just a recharge of sorts. Like Dempster talked about taking a nice 5-day vacation. And it's not like he was mentally distraught and needed to work through some things. But over that 5-day period, he was able to focus. He was able to train the way he wanted to in a different environment. No problem. You just kind of keep it rolling. For Kyle Tucker, it would serve the same purpose in a different way, where you are removed from that. You get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals of what it is you do, and let's find some confidence in there. And now let's go roll for the last month. Breaking news.
It's big breaking news for you, Dallas. Big call up.
What? Is he here?
This weekend, we're going to see
Lightning?
him. Bubba Chandler to be called up by the Pittsburgh Pirates, potentially making his debut at PNC Park this weekend.
That is fucking electric.
Yeah, he's struggled a little bit recently in AAA, but it's like, I feel like part of that is you get to a certain point where you're like, why the fuck am I still here? Like that kind of fatigue might set in. And I don't know if you can speak to that, Dallas, but very exciting news. The fact that a call up to the big leagues, understandably so, the competition is much more difficult, but it can breathe and should breathe new life into someone that is so talented like Bubba Chandler.
Before we not before we get into it, but maybe it's a good time to bring this up. We are aware of what has transpired with Andrew Heaney, correct? Are you guys aware of that?
No.
Andrew Heaney has been bumped to the bullpen, and that is amidst maybe some struggle for Andrew Heaney, but that is what has also been brought to light is Andrew Heaney's contractual situation, and the fact that where he's at in terms of innings could very well garner him some bonus money. And
let me pull up that contract.
Instead of Andrew Heaney being in red hot pursuit of each one of those potential bonus benchmarks, he will be taking on a different role for the remainder of this season for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's
that
bullshit.
could very well hinder his ability to get to those marks.
So they're really going to have to hinder him for him to not at least hit some of these bonuses. He needs to record one more. So he's at 119 and 2/3 innings pitched right now, albeit it's a 5.04 ERA. So to Dallas's point, yeah, he's not been very good this year. It's a 1.33 whip. But yes, 119 and 2/3 innings is where he's at. If he gets to 120 innings pitched, he will get a $50,000 bonus. So that $50,000 bonus is coming his way. For 130, he's going to get $100,000, and he gets $150,000 for reaching 140, another $150,000 for reaching 150, another $150,000 for reaching 160, and another $150,000 for reaching 170. The Pirates already committed $5.25 to him. So yeah, he'll get that $50,000 bonus. He'll probably get the $100,000 for reaching 130. Maybe he gets another $150,000 for reaching 140. I don't know. Out of the bullpen, don't know. But they are certainly trying to limit his innings as a pitcher with an ERA over 5 or about 5.
Well, he's only gotten to the 140 plus inning mark 3 times in his career.
But he did most recently last year and the year before. Yeah.
Correct.
Isn't this a little bit of a eyes wide open situation though? If you're Andrew Heaney, like you signed with the Pirates, we know what the history is. Like Rowdy Tellez isn't 15 years ago. And like if he had other options to even attempt to get to the number of innings that he got to this year with the Pirates, he probably would have signed with those teams instead. So like I'm definitely sympathetic to like the Andrew Heaney case here. I also think that like there's an argument to be made that he maxed out his 2025 contributions already, and that this was the best case scenario for him in terms of opportunity to show that he still had a lot left in the tank. And respectfully, his ERA is over 5. So yeah, there are people who are pitching who have worse ERAs than that. And the Pirates are definitely penny pitching or maybe attempting to here. I also think there's probably semi-legitimate team goal oriented reasons to make this move as well. And reasons that Andrew Heaney probably should have seen coming when he made this decision to sign here.
And that's why I brought that up, is because this is one of them, right? The eventual arrival of a guy like Bubba Chandler. Your name is on that list, Andrew Heaney. He knows that. He understands that. Because, I mean, his last 3 games that he started, 3 games prior to his last start, things were not bad. 2.77 ERA, 13 innings, 4 earned runs allowed, couple homers, not punching out a ton, 6 punch outs, whatever. And then it was his last start against the Brewers, just 4 innings, 5 earned runs, tag for a couple long balls. And that's when they're like, hey, you know what? Bullpen and Bubba Chandler's arrival. So you can see how it was all going to work out. So to acknowledge what you're saying, Jayhay, about, wasn't this something that you should have expected? Well, understand that it could happen. Yes, absolutely. I don't know that I would have expected this. If I'm Andrew Heaney, whether or not I was performing well or not, I would like to have an idea that, hey, I might be able to right this ship over the last month, because your argument could be, how much of Bubba Chandler are you going to see? Why don't I get the opportunity to figure things out? Because we do have this contract here that says, if I get this, I get this. If I hit this inning mark, I get this money. Why am I not allowed to do that? Like, I just want to have those conversations, but we understand why those conversations are not had. So enter the mix, Bubba Chandler, who, look, it's, what it is. It's serious swing and miss. It's octane, 100 innings this year in Indianapolis, 121 strikeouts. He has walked 53. So there are clear command issues. The whip is at 1.4. So don't just fall in love with the idea of Bubba Chandler showing up and punching out the world and becoming some lesser version of a Paul Skeens. Like that's not what's on its way. But there are a lot of things to get excited about with Bubba Chandler. And the fact that we are going to get to see him right now and hopefully through the remainder of the season is fun for Pirates fans.
Before the breaking news happened, Jayhay, did you have any thoughts on the Kyle Tucker situation?
Yep, quickly. I just wanted to, I alluded to some stats yesterday, and I made a comment like, I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying he is hurt, but to hear Ryan Dempster make almost an identical comment and say that if you wanted to think that way, there would be reasons to kind of believe that that's the case. And so like I went digging a little bit more yesterday, and I just wanted to share some of those stats and people can draw their own conclusions. He's hitting 149 against fastballs since the beginning of July, which obviously coincides with the initial downturn. And 9 of those 11 hits have been singles. He hit 382 with a 691 slugging against fastballs through the month of June. All right, that's first thing. Second thing, he's hitting the ball on the ground more as the season goes on. His ground ball rate is 53.7% in August. It hovered between 24 and 35% through the first 4 months of the season, so obviously completely different. When he pulls the ball, he's hitting 220 with a 320 slugging percentage in July and August. It was 430 with a 966 slugging through the first 3 months of the season. And then even more granular, if you look at his number of fly balls to right field at 95 miles per hour or greater by month this season, it was 9 in March and April, 7 in May, 4 in June, 1 in July, and 0 in August. And that last one in July was July 19th. So he has not had a fly ball to right field at 95 miles an hour or greater since July 19th. And he had 16 through the first 2 months of the season. So whether that's a lack of health or something else, I've done a lot of stats on Tucker, so I don't want to belabor it, but I think there's a lot of fascinating stuff going on here. And I'll be interested to see whether, it is something like, what Dempster was talking about with the first real struggles of his life, which I thought was super interesting from Dempster. How he comes out of this and the specific nature of the struggles, I think are pretty interesting.
Yeah, something that I just very quickly started to look at with here, when behind in the count, Kyle Tucker flailing, it looks like. And that is like when he's ahead in the count, very comfortable. I think you can understand why for a lot of different reasons. You got leverage, you've got a pitch or two to work with in your mind. But it just looks like it's an at bat that is full of question marks in terms of approach, in terms of what he's trying to do in the moment right now. And that's tough. The fact that you have so little pull side authority in your swing right now, like how you're getting to the baseball, man, that is because, and look, what you start to see is you start to see different parts of the zone open up for pitchers. When you start to hear stats like that and you start to see that information, that gives you an idea of what pathways you can take to start to attack Kyle Tucker. And it feels like feels like getting on the freeway at 2:30 in the morning. Like there's just not much traffic in your way. You could pick any lane you want.
The Cristopher Sanchez conversation.
Deal fest.
An interesting one. Yeah. Where are we at on, I guess, the NL Cy Young race and where Cristopher Sanchez fits into that discussion? Do we have data to kind of look into this? I feel like Jayhay does.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Dallas, you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I can just set the stage. I don't have super granular stuff on Sanchez, but I do have broad picture stuff that Jared's asking for. Second in wins above replacement right now in the NL, behind only Skeens, and it's 5.1 to 4.7, so obviously pretty close. But what's super interesting to me is that Sanchez, going back to the beginning of June, has a 1.94 ERA and 3.6 wins above replacement. That's the top mark for wins above replacement in all of Major League Baseball. Forget about the NL, and the second lowest ERA to only Trevor Rogers. So, like, to your point, it did seem like a month ago, it was like, oh, do the Phillies have two co-aces? Who's the better pitcher? Oh, it's got to still be Zach Wheeler. And now with his medical stuff and Sanchez's ascension, like, I think he has to be considered the de facto ace of the Philly staff. And I think he's a completely viable Cy Young candidate because he's going to have the same level of bulk that Paul Skeens has. They're nearly identical in innings pitched. So that's not going to be a thing. And he's going to have some really similar rate stats going on as well. Maybe not quite as eye-popping, but like basically kind of in the same ballpark in terms of strikeouts, walks, that ERA, that kind of stuff. And if one of them's doing it for a team that is playing quote unquote important games and winning their division, and the other one's doing it for a team that was respectfully done playing meaningful quote unquote baseball at the end of April, then like, then I don't like using that as a primary driver of the award. But if it really is a toss up between Sanchez and Skeens,
well, look, Jayhay, it's
and he's
tough
forcing that issue, right? Yeah.
It's tough to have an MVP conversation and listen to people tell you, well, if he's carrying his team and if he's the biggest product that is contributing, then how can we not value what this player is doing if his team does indeed have postseason aspirations, and a large part is due to what they're bringing to the table, as opposed to, well, this guy's on a shitty team, but he's clearly the best individual performer as far as statistics are concerned. That same conversation is the exact conversation that is being had right now with this NL Cy Young. And it has to be had that way because we're bantering about the idea of Paul Skeens winning the Cy Young with a losing record. So that inherently tells you that his team has no chance of getting to October. With that being said, you have a left-hander in Cristopher Sanchez, who, as you just laid out, Jayhay, has essentially slid in to the ace role with Zach Wheeler dealing with blood clots in his shoulder. And it's not like Cristopher Sanchez is just like some fallback plan. As we sit right now, according to B-War, him and Paul Skeens are the exact same player. 5.9 WAR accumulated so far this year. Oh, so go ahead.
So to that point, there's a level of consensus between the two wars too, because you have them identical in one and very, very close in the other. So that shouldn't be like a sticking point in any sort of or conversation about the Cy Young, right?
Right. And so now this is where you start to get into, and where it always goes, right? Workload and dominance, because ultimately, if you're a voter, are you someone who falls in love with the idea of a guy just missing barrels with a high ground ball rate? And, like, no, you want to see the swing and miss. So let's talk about the swing and miss. 174 strikeouts for Paul Skeens at a 28% strikeout rate. Cristopher Sanchez, 157 strikeouts with a 25.8. We'll call it 26% strikeout rate. Paul Skeens, we can call it 29. Cristopher Sanchez does have one less walk than Paul Skeens with 36. Paul Skeens has 37. So the walk percentage for Cristopher Sanchez, 5.9% to the 6.1 for Paul Skeens. The win-loss record, again, whether you decide to call it negligible or not, it's 11-4 for Sanchez, with Paul Skeens at 7-9. Skeens with 154 innings to Cristopher Sanchez 150 2/3. So 2 less starts under his belt for Cristopher Sanchez, but is neck and neck and in line with everything that Paul Skeens is doing in terms of the dominance. There's just a little more traffic for Cristopher Sanchez at this point overall. The whip 1.088 to the Paul Skeens sub 1 whip at 0.96. ERA plus, if that gets your attention or gets you excited, 181 for Cristopher Sanchez, 195 for Paul Skeens. And if you're worried about luck and what that looks like, Well, the FIPs are right in line with what these individuals are doing. 2.73 FIP for Cristopher Sanchez, 2.46 FIP for Paul Skeens. So marginally, Paul Skeens right now, probably still the leader in the clubhouse, but there are still meaningful games left to be pitched for Cristopher Sanchez. And every time that Paul Skeens takes the mound, it's meaningful. I think for an industry impact perspective. So I will be really interested to see how voters fall on this one. If both of these individuals continue to pace themselves the way they are now, and we are cutting hairs at the very end of this thing, and if the Phillies in the postseason with Sanchez leading the charge is a very real reason why they're there and a very real reason in how they get there, you know how much I fucking love Paul Skeens. I mean, I was 2 seconds away from asking you fellas to just turn your head in public while we were sitting next to Paul Skeens. So I am locked in on this race as closely as I think as you could be locked in on this moving forward.
I like that. Do you have any sympathy at all for Rays fans who last night had to sit through a rain delay just to watch their team give up 9 home runs at home, but have your home ballpark really be their home ballpark and the crowd there reflected as such? It sounded like a Yankee home game. It kind of really was a Yankee home game, but really not. It's your home ballpark, but it's really not. And you had to wait it out just to watch your team give up 9 home runs.
If you have a Rays fan in your life that you hate, you want this game to be played on loop for them, like a bad acid flashback for like 3 hours at a time. That's what kind of game that was. Like, get me out of here. Nightmare scenario. Every bit of it is something that you don't want to deal with. I don't want to watch my team lose. I definitely don't want to watch my team lose in a ballpark that's not ours, but supposed to be ours, against the team whose ballpark it really is. And now we got to wait for this to happen. Fuck that. All right, cool. Game's on. Whack, 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 whack. Get me home. Get me fucking out of here immediately. That's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel for them. I mean, it's not like they came into the season with high hopes, but like they got to a point within the season where they were in the mix of teams that should be considered viable threats for making the postseason. That happened at some point this year. That quickly fell off a cliff and took a left turn. And now here we are. I mean, I feel like is there have been a lot of rock bottom points in the Rays franchise. Is this has to be one of them? No, like I feel like you've lost the trop. You've lost hope of this season, and now you're playing in a spring training ballpark, and then the team who really stakes claim to it hits 9 home runs off of you. That's got to be a low point.
Well, it's definitely not something that's going to make the World Series DVD, Jared.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something that you're celebrating right now. If at any point in time you wake up and you find yourself going, God, I just wish we were at the Trop, that lets you know where you're at.
Jayhay?
There's no way I can say that this is the low point in the Rays organization, because I'm barely old enough to remember, but do remember the Rays at the very beginning of their franchise's existence, and teams really don't get a lot more pathetic than that. So I'm going to try and keep that perspective in this current embarrassing era for the Rays that never really seems to totally end, but I would push back on this being the peak.
Yeah, no, this isn't the peak. It's just that's a tough night to go through. But there's a few other baseball fan bases that have it a little worse.
Yeah. Which is, part of the beautiful thing about baseball. You can always find a fan base that has it worse.
Sure can.
Yeah.
You sure can, right, Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
I feel for you. That's why.
Assholes.
That's why we're probably going to get you some chubbies.
Oh,
Yeah. I feel like you're. We could get you some Dallas Cowboys chubbies.
yeah, I'd wear them.
Yeah,
I'd wear them.
You ready for some football? Because if you're not, Chubbies is ready to help you with their NFL collection, whether you're tailgating, grilling, or riding the highs and lows of the game from your couch. Chubbies has the officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. With bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams, Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos with wildly comfortable polos, wave-making swim trunks, and gym-ready mesh shorts. Yeah, you heard that right. Swim trunks with your favorite NFL team's logo on them. All the comfort, all the swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, chest bump, or dramatic fourth quarter meltdown. And if you're not a jersey guy, this is an elite alternative. If you are a jersey fanatic, something tells me that you'll love their NFL collection, because when you're invested in the game, your outfit should be too. And for a limited time, our exclusive code BID will get you $10 off at chubbiesshorts.com/BID. Yes, that includes NFL collection. Let the thighs out and let the good times roll. Chubbies is the ultimate football apparel brand, so much so that they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, Ian Rappaport, and others have come together to assemble the Chubbies League on NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance at a Chubbies polo shorts combo with their favorite team's logo. The grand champion gets a chance at the ultimate fan experience, a 5-city, 5-stadium NFL game tour with a +1, while the fantasy flop faces a hilarious and unforgettable punishment only Chubbies could pull off. Head to chubbiesshorts.com/thechubbiesleague to learn more and have some fun. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life. Would you look at that, folks? For a limited time, our friends at Chubbies are giving our listeners $10 off with the promo code BID at chubbiesshorts.com/BID. That's $10 off your order with the promo code BID. And that includes the NFL collection. Support our show. Tell them BID sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies. 200 Ks. We've reached the plateau for Skubal. Dallas, that do anything for you?
Yes and no. I mean, once again, he's the first to this mark. It's becoming almost borderline expected at this point. Is it exciting? Yeah. Am I going to shortchange him? No. It's a big fucking deal. It's really cool. It's an awesome achievement. But again, he is quickly becoming if he hasn't already become, a victim of his own success. So these are things that you do just almost start to expect year in, year out. What do you have last year? Fucking 220 something, 230 something. Like led the league, right? Yeah, I mean, this is if you got a guy with his kind of stuff that is seemingly in a position to go out and post 180 plus innings from year to year, then yeah, you're getting 200 plus from Scoobs year in, year out.
Yeah. Jayhay's got to hit the road, so I'd love to get some award-winning nugs before that happens.
Yes. Sorry about that. But I do have a plate full of nugs today. You guys brought up Skubal, left-handed pitchers with 5 or more starts in a single season of 0 runs and 10 or more strikeouts in the wild card era. Last night was his 5th such start. To Dallas's point about it kind of becoming commonplace at this point. Last lefty to do that was Sale in 18. He did it in 17 as well. Kershaw in 15, and then Randy Johnson in 95, 98, and 01. So like, just as an aside, every one of these lists that Skubal is on now is for lefties is basically just Sale, Kershaw, and Randy Johnson. And, you know, just kind of speaks to the level of dominance that and like prolonged multi-season dominance that Skubal has achieved and the take for granted part of it. On the other side, James Wood, little update here on his second half struggles through the first 87 games of his season. 294, 395, 563. That's a 958 OPS. He had another offer last night. He's now at 172, 250, 276. It's a 526 OPS over his last 35 games, and that 35-game stretch has dropped his OPS 123 points on the season. David Peterson, first Mets left-handed pitcher with multiple starts of 8 or more innings pitched, 1 or 0 runs, and 1 or 0 walks in a single season since Johan Santana in 2008. Under the radar, in some senses, really nice season for David Peterson. We brought up Bubba Chandler earlier. Jared referenced that he has been struggling lately. To put some specific numbers to that, he had a 2.82 ERA through his first 18 outings, and batters were hitting 216 with a 612 OPS. Over his last 6 starts, it's a 7.43 ERA with a 3.33, 4.15, 5.77. It's a 9.92 OPS triple slash line. So, to Jared's point, maybe this is the new challenge that he needs, but he's been really quite bad over his last 6 starts. Ohtani and Judge both went yard last night. Ohtani now has 12 homers over his last 28 games, as he's officially in the middle of one of those epic tears that he occasionally goes on, and that we've probably already started to take for granted. But he's the first player rather, since himself last season to have he's done it multiple times this season, but he now has all of the instances since May of last season of a batter having 12 or more homers, 20 or more walks, and 5 or more stolen bases over a 28-game span. The last batter to do that, who was not Shohei Ohtani, was, interestingly enough, given the conversation this week, Kyle Tucker from April 24th to May 26th of 2024. Aaron Judge became the 4th Yankees player with at least 4 40-homer seasons last night. He joined Babe Ruth, who had 11, Lou Gehrig, who had 5, and Mickey Mantle, who also had 4. And as a little tip of the cap here to DB, Nick Kurtz last night became the 2nd A's player in franchise history, age 22 or younger, to have multiple games in a single season of 3 or more hits and 2 or more walks. The only other instance of that is Rick Monday in 1968. Ricky has multiple such games at age 22 or younger, but not within the same season. So Nick Kurtz continues to impress. And yeah, I'm really interested to see where his kind of like rate stats end up at the end of this season for, like, I know we've run through it previously, but where it is at the end for all-time first baseman at this age in a single season, because it's going to be, some fantastic names at his current rate. So those are the Nuggs, and thank you for digesting.
Thank you so much, Jayhay. Appreciate you.
Always.
Final thoughts, Dallas?
Jayhay just touched on him. I touched on it. You know what? This is going to be an extended final thought version, because I do need to address something. Well, I don't know that I need to address it, because I said it in the interview with Ryan Dempster. I know there was a lot of talk about, the Joey Estes incident with Victor Robles. So I'll leave that alone. To touch on what Jayhay said about Kurtz and Langoliers, there are no two better. I don't believe there's a better combination of teammates right now since the All-Star break doing what Nick Kurtz and Shea Langoliers are doing currently. They are 1 and 2 respectively since the break in OPS. Nick Kurtz has the highest batting average in baseball at 426 since July 17th. And Langoliers not far behind him, hitting 355 during that time, over 121 at bats. For Nick Kurtz, it's been over 101 at bats. Shea Langoliers, nobody, and I mean nobody, has as many home runs since the All-Star break as Shea Langoliers. He leads the free world in homers since that time with 15. The great Kyle Schwarber just behind him with 14. And I just love that I have, in a couple different ways been treated to versions of seasons I've talked about being really excited to watch unfold. I talked about how cool it is to watch a guy hit 350, and I didn't get it the whole year, but I've watched Jacob Wilson do what he did. I'm now being treated to a Kurtz and Langoliers duo for what seems like an entire second half at this point, and the way that they have swung the bat, the fact that Nick Kurtz is all of 22 years old and is doing what he's doing at the rate he's doing it at has been one of the funnest things I have got to witness in my baseball life. And I'm having a fucking blast watching this kid just grow each and every day right before our very eyes. And watching him become the leader that he's already becoming is even more impressive when you get to know the individual and you get to see the daily impact that a young 22-year-old is having on an extremely talented team right now. It's a fucking blast, man. So I appreciate Jayhay contextualizing what these two dudes are doing, because they are fucking behemoths right now.
Mm-hmm. Jayhay, do you have a final thought?
Just to follow up on Dallas quickly, like one of the all-time, or at least recent history, most interesting 449 win percentage seasons, to everything Dallas was just talking about, like the storylines and the player performances that you've gotten to latch on to offensively, mostly, is enough to sustain you for a season where, maybe the 57 and 70 wouldn't on its own be enough.
No, it's hands down one of the most exciting last place teams to watch, I think, that baseball fans have come across in a while.
My final take, or final thought, Jayhay, this hair and beard combo for you is the winner. If you can live right here, we got sex appeal.
You trying to fuck Jay?
Well, like I think he's got that like Morgan Wallen thing.
Hold on, but did you just see how he just laid back and fucking tasted every bit of what you just said? You said that, and he was like this. What?
You know what really struck me about it isn't so much the good looks that he's pointing out. It was that he took the time to end the podcast and call that out specifically. I think has to speak to his level of passion on the topic. And I think it might be the most inspirational thing anyone's ever said to me about my appearance. And I might move on it. I might do some real action off of that feedback. And I appreciate it. It takes
there's some real Morgan Wallen vibes going on. Like I think you is like the long flowing hair coming out the back of the hat with like this length beard. Cause like clean shaven, it freaks people out. And when it gets too long, it's like, all right, when's he going to shave it? Right here. This is your wheelhouse right here.
All right. I'm going to go.
Do you feel the need to clean it up around the side? Do you feel the need to tighten it up, like knock down some of the, just a question. It's just a question. Because I feel like if you tighten up some of the near.
I think it's actually a super inappropriate question coming off of that wonderful compliment that Jared paid me. And I think we should, just end it there. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You look great.
I'm going to go down and talk to my family about what we just discussed.
Please do. Please do. Family Feud tomorrow.
Jared wants to fuck me. Yes, Jared. Family Feud.
Family Feud tomorrow. That's sexy ass Family Feud host going to be back here tomorrow.
Yes, she is.
Can't wait. All right. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll be back to round out the week tomorrow, Thursday, with Family Feud. Can't wait. See you then.
It's going to be awesome.